Hello, her Empower Tribe. Welcome back again to another episode of Daily Reflection. It's Friday, so should be awesome. I hope you have some fun plans for the weekend. I hope you also enjoyed the last video I made where I share some of my stories. If you do have any feedback on what you want to hear and have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave it down below, and I would love to take on your feedback, and I'm always striving to be better. Well, without further ado, let's go to the Book of Awakening. Today's passage is titled The Way Things Are. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. Beyond what we need to survive, to better ourselves has come to mean having as much as one can store, and as such has turned into an addiction in our modern world. Such a want to have things comes from a sense of scarcity and an anxiety that something is missing, which owning will somehow soothe. But to better ourselves inwardly is another matter. The closer to heart we take this, the more we find ourselves trying to inhabit what we have carried since the beginning. This one comes from a sense of abundance, a yearning to unlock the mystery of what is already there. This difference becomes stark for me while struggling with cancer. For while I prayed for things to be better, my prayers were answered. When I woke one morning, content to be who I am, no matter what was happening, though things were not as I wanted, there was truly nothing lacking, and I vowed as the nurses started their morning rounds that I would trade places with no one, spirits with all. So this is really I like this passage because I really think that it's very relevant to our life here in America, even from where I'm from, Singapore. Before I came to America, I'm originally from Singapore. I believe I share that with you. If it's your first time in my channel, just so you know. And in Singapore, it's a pretty wealthy country, so um, a lot of material stuff, brand names. I know that all growing up, I have classmates that are like, wanting to get luxury items, and they were save to buy one, um, and and I always wondered why, I wasn't from a well-to-do family, could never afford something expensive at that time, and they are always chasing after the next fad, and um, that's really the identity that my impression anyway. Now I moved to America for the past 14 years. Who knows what has happened in Singapore, but um, it's all about the things that we have that define who we are. And I've said this many times. I've posted some of my articles also mentioning that, and for some reason the mindset is that if I carry a more luxurious purse, then it elevates who I am, my status, or something like that. In Asia, anyway, um, those brand names and luxury items does give people a sense that you are of a higher class almost. And coming to America, I think there is a lot of consuming happening, a lot of people, especially, oh my gosh, Christmas, and just buying things and the next big thing. And well, I guess that's why, there's just so many adverts that is pushed to us about the next sale and the next sale. I can personally share with you my own journey around acquiring things. When I was less awakened and less self-aware, as I progressed in my career, I was making good money, and so um, I started acquiring things. I mean, just because they're cheap, just because they are brand names. And I went from for example, my purse, I went from having a Coach purse, which I thought was elevating my status or whatever, to Michael Kors, which I thought it's one step better than Coach because everybody carries Coach. And then I went to like Kate Spade, and then I went to Louis Vuitton. I was so excited when I was able to buy my first Louis Vuitton. Now I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, seven or eight Louis Vuitton purses that I have on display. Um, and what else do I do? And then I went to Celine, and I went to, and the rush of that buying things would be like awesome, and then the next purse would come, and I'll be itching for the next one, and um but it was never enough, and it never really made me happy. And I always thought that things would make me happy, and I felt like it's almost like when you get the thing that you want, and then it no longer holds its value, and you just like, why do I even buy this purse, and why doesn't it sustain? Why am I not content enough to just have one purse? Now I have to have eight purse. It, and as I am going through my own, transformation, and um, start having a little bit more self-awareness, more self-personal development, I come to realize and learn that there is really something that is missing inside of me, um, that I didn't understand. And for those of you who don't understand trauma, um, because of those experiences, it impacts the way your mind wires, and you tend to be a little bit more impulsive. So I think what I'm trying to say is that sometimes your behaviors is a reflection of your subconscious mind, that fully you're not fully aware. And until you start being more curious about why what your behavior means, kind of do a self study of yourself, you start being more aware of the meaning behind those behaviors. And I mentioned that before. I think for me, I realized that I needed to find meaning in my life, purpose, and purpose wasn't to purchase stuff, because at the end of the day, I feel like I still feel empty and unfulfilled inside, and I don't feel like I'm contributing anything, but I'm just having more and more stuff. And what really woke me up was, um, as I enter into my transformation, I started wanting to live simply. I started decluttering my life, and I brought out all my stuff as I was trying to declutter, and I was just blown away by the amount of stuff I have, that some of them had tags on it. I just had multiple of similar things in different colors. Like, those are also unnecessary. And really, the core of my emptiness was my lack of purpose, and my lack of self-esteem, really. And I think that's why a lot of people are going into minimalism. It could be a fad for some people, but to me, it's not really a fad for me, because I really see the value of living simply, having lesser, spending more time with what matters and what serves you, and not really chasing after those things. And I was never like a fad follower, but at the same time, it's like I like pretty things. Um, and a lot of people go into debt because of it. I'm in debt because of it. I was in debt because of it. And um, although I have the ability to pay and to take care of those things, it's just like unnecessary stress and unnecessary burden to have, because I feel like things is actually a burden. Like, I feel like the more I grew into my own um, perspective of myself, I feel like it clutters your mind, and it clutters your thoughts, and it clutters your ability to have good things come in your life, because you're just so blinded because you just have so much stuff. um and when I went through my spiritual awakening, which I haven't really shared before what spiritual awakening is, which I will on a separate video, separate from the Book of Awakening, because right now we are just talking about the Book of Awakening. Is that I appreciate the simple things, really, really simple, and that's why I like the Book of Awakening, because it really reminds us, bring us back to the foundation of what's simple, what's the basic. The basics is the air to breathe, the food to eat, water to drink, shelter over your head, you know what I mean, like down to the basics, and to feel grateful and rich in that. Wealth is not really about accumulation of stuff or accumulation of money. I think wealth is an inner sense that you have enough and that you are taken care of. And when you think in a an abundant way, without those extra things, you realize, just you put things in perspective of what truly is important to you. The relationships you have, the health that you have, those all are basic foundations of things that we take for granted from day to day. And uh, I think sometimes we look at others and we think like how shallow they are, or we think that we're better than them. That in itself, I think it's also a way of judging others, because there might be other ways that we are not seeing ourselves in areas that we lack. I know it sounds like a lot of things that I'm sharing with you, because like I said, this is like for me to share my perspective, but all in all, I think it's really for us to think about what we're grateful for. And end of the day, the things around you, the people around you, can't necessarily bring you happiness and wealth. And true abundance is really how you feel inside. And it's a muscle, and I think it's something that you need to build on. But it all starts with the piece of being curious. And I think for me, what started my journey of curiosity is really to turn inward and say, why do I need all these things? Why do I have the itch to go out and buy the next thing? Or why do I have the urge to, acquire? And when I don't, then I feel frustrated or whatever. And there is a message when we have those frustrations, or our behavior is a clue for us to work on something that maybe we need to look deeper inside. So I really encourage you to take some time, and it might not be material things, it might be other things that maybe is hindering your progress. This passage is just talking about that, and I'm just using my example, but it could be that in life there can be so many things that hold us back. And I think it's good to take that time to reflect on how you can be better, or what all these behaviors mean, because I think that the awareness would really impact in the grand scheme of your transformation. I hope this serves you. I hope it's not too complicated to understand. And I really like you to dive into really thinking outside of the box, then looking at something more beyond the surface. Because I think all of us look at things the way they are, but we don't take the time to really look deeper to see like what are some of these meanings that maybe we can dive into that can really help us grow. Well, if you have any feedback, or if you're confused about this video, you have some questions, feel free to reach out to me. Please like and subscribe. I appreciate this. It takes me time to come online to give you my perspective, because I truly care and I truly want you to feel empowered, because this is all about women empowerment. And we are all not, what do you call it, immune to all these different things that is happening in our life. But I think that the more we can widen our perspective and share, things that come into our minds. I think it expands somebody else's perspective. Well, I didn't think about this situation that way. I didn't think about my behaviors that way. But now that Helena said that, I'm going to start expanding and start paying attention. And that is really the key to starting a growth. I'm just planting seeds, and where you want to take them is ultimately up to you. Well, I hope you have an amazing day, an amazing weekend, and I look forward to talking to you in our next video. You have an awesome day.